Can the day you were born reveal how you'll die? Horoscopes might predict your luck, love life, or bank account, but let's be honest, that's nowhere near as dark or fun as figuring out how you'll meet the Grim Reaper. On today's episode of the Infographics Show, we're revealing the fate that awaits you, based entirely on your zodiac sign. Let's start with Aries. If you were born between March 21st and April 19th, this is your zodiac sign. Your patron animal is the ram, and your ruling planet is Mars, associated with Aries, the god of war. Which is fitting, because if you're a typical Aries, there's a good chance that you are the fiery type. Channeling the hard head of a ram and the badassery of an ancient Greek war god, an Aries is fearless and impulsive. They make decisions fast, with a real sense of urgency, and when they have made up their minds, all that's left is to go, go, go! An Aries is kind of like the Energizer Bunny made flesh. They're enthusiastic, fun-loving, risk-taking, and high energy. It's why, if you know an Aries, they're probably on the must-invite list for any party you throw. They love freedom and spontaneity, and they hate all the rules and regs that the man tries to impose on them. And if you ever tell an Aries what they can and can't do, expect to meet the business end of their sharp temper. But what does all this have to do with death? Here's where we need to get a little Sherlock Holmes up in this thing. To know how an Aries dies, we need to use their traits to reverse engineer the kind of life your typical Aries would live. Being all about speed and excitement, an Aries doesn't want to relax on the beach when they go on vacation. They want adventure, they want excitement. They are more likely to try something new and risky on a whim, like, say, cave diving. Sure, it's not hard to be a long-lived spelunker, as long as you're cautious and you follow all the rules. But come on, does that sound like an Aries to you? And that brings us to our first astrologically determined doom. If you're an adventurous Aries, you might just find your end deep in a cave system, lost, alone, and way too far from cell service. See, we're having fun already. Let's cut the bull and head to the next one. Taurus. You get to call yourself a Taurus if you were born between April 20th and May 20th. The patron animal of the Taurus is incidentally the bull, and their ruling planet is Venus, namesake of the famously beautiful goddess of love in Roman mythology. And that makes a lot of sense. Tauruses are all about loving the little things in life that most people take for granted in our fast-paced world. Good food, good booze, and a job well done. Because in stark contrast to the Aries, the Taurus likes to take it easy. Slow and steady wins the race after all. And just because a Taurus isn't a walking firecracker doesn't mean they don't have limitless energy. They're just a lot better at directing that energy toward whatever task or project they've got in mind. They are strong, reliable, and patient, the kind of buddy that you would call for a favor if you were in a bind, because you know they've always got your back. Granted, they're not all positive traits. Who is, right? Your average Taurus is going to be insanely stubborn and worryingly relentless, even if the task that they've made their latest quixotic quest really doesn't matter all that much. A Taurus is a real never-tell-me-the-odds type, and that can be both a help and a hindrance. But how would all this get a Taurus killed, you ask? We think it's even more obvious than Aries. When someone has a reputation for being the reliable, responsible friend, they inevitably get asked to help out with a variety of life's annoying little errands. And when you mix that up with a refusal to ever admit defeat, things start to get dangerous, especially when it comes to moving heavy furniture. That's right, it's not as cool or sexy as getting nutty-puttied, but if anyone is going to be crushed by a freezer while stubbornly insisting they can lift it solo during a buddy's move, it's 100% going to be a Taurus, no question. Now that we got Taurus in the body bag, let's enter the world of Gemini. If you're a Gemini, you were born between May 21st and June 21st. Your symbol is the twins, that's Castor and Pollux, a pair of mythological bros that exist in both Greek and Roman mythology. Your ruling planet is Mercury, the messenger, and honestly, that fits. Nobody can deliver a message quite like a Gemini. They are natural-born communicators, irresistibly charismatic, and they're drawn to social situations the way the rest of us are drawn to Ben & Jerry's at 2 a.m. Geminis are intelligent, quick-witted, and extremely charming. They are the kind of smooth talkers that light up a room, reminding us mere mortals that communication is as much an art form as it is a science. They are versatile, trying to become knowledgeable and skilled in a variety of areas, and nobody can deliver a killer punchline like a Gemini. If you find yourself in a chat with them, chances are they'll soon have you in the palm of their hand. The downside is, they might also bug you with just how outspoken and opinionated they tend to be. They've got big ideas that they'll take any opportunity to preach, even if it turns what was meant to be a casual chat into a heated debate. They can be convinced to change their strongly held views, but whatever they believe at any given time, you can bet your bottom dollar that you are gonna hear about it. which is why we think that they would make excellent politicians. Seriously, think about it. They've got the passion to campaign, the controversial expertise to crush a debate, and the charm and persuasive power to win over voters. The problem is, it can sometimes be just a little dangerous to be a politician who is extremely outspoken about their convictions. Just ask JFK and Abe Lincoln. And that's why we think a heavy contender for an extremely Gemini demise is becoming the victim of an Oswald-style political assassination. And that is a bummer, sure, but at least it beats being smushed by a fridge, right? Speaking of things that can kill you, Cancer. No, we're not talking about the disease, we're talking about the Zodiac sign that you can call your own if you were born between June 22nd and July 22nd. The symbol for Cancer is the crab, with its hard exterior and menacing pincers, but soft and delicious insides. If you're a Cancer, your ruling planet, well, technically satellite, is the moon, the goddess of emotions, and Cancers are nothing if not extremely in touch with their emotions. They feel things extremely deeply and they aren't afraid to express those feelings, even if it occasionally results in some messy emotional outbursts. But it's important to remember that when it comes to Cancers, it all comes from a place of love. They are extremely caring and protective of their families and close friends. They make very emotionally intuitive parents with big, vivid imaginations. They may be a little too sensitive for their own good at times, but they rarely fail to be sympathetic and kind to others. They want to be the rock for the people in their lives, but who is to stop them from drifting away in the process? Like the humble crab, Cancers often feel a deep connection to water, but they also need solid ground nearby to feel safe and centered. And unfortunately, that delicate balance is how the Cancer gets killed in the end. They are the exact kinds of people who would plan a family boat trip as a bonding experience for their cherished loved ones. But if someone fell overboard or the boat capsized, the Cancer would likely put the safety of their loved ones before their own. They would make sure every loved one reached the boat or the shore, even if it meant being swept out to sea themselves. Well, that got depressing real quick. Let's do another silly one. Leos, get over here. It's your turn on the chopping block now. If you were born between July 23rd and August 22nd, you get to call yourself a Leo. Its symbol is the lion, obviously a pillar of power, pride, and drama. The ruling planet of Leos is the sun, known in astrological circles as the king of the universe. We're probably not going to blow your mind by telling you that humble is not going to be one of the traits you're about to hear, but Leos more than make up for it with all of their other awesome traits. Leos are the kind of people that all those weird alpha and sigma male YouTube dweebs like to pretend they are. They are dominant, powerful, and always manage to be the center of attention. As the kids say today, they got mad aura. They can be a little too dramatic, nobody would deny that. But they have got the talent, the charm, and the skills to actually back up their bravado. Most of the time, they love being surrounded by both people and action. And we don't know about you, but doesn't that sound like a movie star? And no, we don't mean an actor, we mean a movie star. The kind of face that you're destined to see all over the posters for the latest tentpole action and superhero releases. And of course, being an action-loving Leo who can't ever back down from doing the coolest thing possible, you know that they're gonna do all their own stunts. And that is exactly how they'll die. Maybe they fall off the side of a plane while doing a Tom Cruise-style aerial stunt, or they get sucked into the blades of a helicopter. Maybe they'll be caught up in a special effects explosion, or have their head blown off by an improperly prepared prop gun. No matter the specifics, we can't think of a more Leo way to bite the big one than dying during a botched action movie stunt. So while the flames on Leo's corpse are being extinguished by an underpaid production assistant, let's see how the biggest virgin of the Zodiac squad is getting extinguished too. And we're not trying to be demeaning here. Virgos, born between August 23rd and September 22nd, are represented by the Virgin or Maiden in astrological symbology. Much like the Geminis, the ruling planet for Virgos is Mercury, the messenger. And Virgos will definitely make sure that you get the message. Because Virgos, they have standards. They've got good taste and they won't accept anything short of what they know they're worth. You can expect them to be tidy, meticulous, and governed by their own set of strict rules for how things should be in their life. But don't let that fool you into thinking they're some kind of fuddy-duddy who always stays at home. A Virgo needs constant activity and stimulation, so you can expect them to have a packed schedule of activities with every social connection all across town. Social butterfly and epic control freak can sometimes be a little bit of a caustic combination, and it can certainly make for a pretty stressful life sometimes. Seriously, ask any Virgos you know. The anxiety of double booking is only the start of it. And we think that this life of frantic stress and constant appointments would be intrinsically tied into what would get a Virgo killed. They'd be driving across town at warp speed, trying not to be late to their second brunch of the day. and already pre-planning the other 4 activities that they have planned for the day in their head. And that is when their car gets T-boned at an intersection and they become a puree of broken glass, broken bones, and a whole bunch of soft, gooey matter behind the steering wheel. Pay real close attention while you're driving, folks. One kind of person who absolutely would pay attention while driving is Libra. That sign covers the folks born between September 23rd and October 22nd. The symbol for Libra are the scales, which is appropriate because the life of a Libra is all about balance. They want to keep things on a nice, chill, even keel. Much like the Tauruses, the ruling planet for Libra is Venus, the goddess of love, and they've got all the calm and patience of a Taurus without all the toxic stubbornness. You see, the average Libra is the kind of person that everyone just has a kind of vaguely pleasant opinion about. Libras know exactly what they want out of life, and what they want is just a nice, smooth ride. They don't seek out conflict or drama. In fact, they'll go out of their way to avoid it. They're easygoing, romantic, and idealistic, and they're the kinds of people who just sort of get along with everyone, even if they maybe don't leave much of an impression. It's why we think Libras occupy an extremely rare place on this list. They're the kind of personality that we think is the most likely to just die of old age and natural causes. They're not going to seek out crazy lifestyles or volatile situations, so the chances are that they might just find themselves a way to chug along under the radar until the Reaper comes to collect them. It's honestly kind of aspirational, all things considered. That same chillness definitely doesn't extend to our next star sign, Scorpios. Those people are born between October 23rd and November 21st. Their symbol is the scorpion, that famously hardy and menacing desert arachnid that has big scary pincers and a stinging tail full of venom that might just kill you if you get on their bad side. Their ruling planet, which sadly actually lost its planet status in the early 2000s, is Pluto, the planet of regeneration and change. It's also the god of the underworld in Roman mythology. Scorpios have 2 ruling principles in life: power and passion. Natural hedonists, they enjoy excess and pleasure in all of its forms, and they tend to experience all the extremes of emotion. But it's not just all pleasure-seeking for its own sake. Scorpios are driven by a strong sense of purpose that they feel almost duty-bound to see through, a calling that they will attack with a sense of power and imagination. They were put here on Earth for a reason, and absolutely nothing is going to stop them from seeing it through, even if they can't quite resist enjoying some of life's more basic pleasures along the way. There's no denying that it is a real rock star mentality. Live fast, die young, and squeeze in plenty of sex, drugs, and rock and roll somewhere between the two. But this is also where we think it's a real risk for Scorpios who want to live like rock stars to also die like rock stars under a mountain of their own excess. Whether it's booze, drugs, or cheeseburgers, sorry Elvis, or some combination of the 3, ODing feels like a grimly fitting death for an archetypal Scorpio. Okay, well, that was another one that ended up being kinda bleak. We thought death was all gonna be good fun. What gives? Let's gallop along to Sagittarius, one of the more underrepresented zodiac signs. This is made up of all the people born between November 22nd and December 21st. Their symbol is the centaur, the mythical half-man, half-horse archer of classical mythology. Some say it symbolizes a mix of the Sagittarius' love of travel, that's the horse legs, with their tendency to shoot straight to the truth, like the centaur's bow and arrow. The ruling planet for the Sagittarius is Jupiter, considered to be the planet of wisdom and vision in astrological circles. If you haven't picked it up from this already, Sagittariuses are a mix of intellectual curiosity and wanderlust. They want to know more, to see more, to experience more, and they don't want to be boxed in by outdated ideas or small horizons. They're the kind of people who travel all over the world to find themselves, valuing freedom and open-mindedness above all else. And on the whole, those are all pretty awesome things. We live in a beautiful world, and anybody who has the chance to see a lot of it would be a fool not to take the chance. After all, you never know what experience is going to change your life, or, end it. Which is exactly what we think would probably happen to a travel-crazy Sagittarius whose open-mindedness might leave them open to some hidden danger. Picture it. You're a curious Sagittarius exploring a foreign country, having the time of your life when hunger strikes. But you don't want to go somewhere popular like some kitschy chain restaurant. You want an authentic local experience, so you pick a tiny little hole in the wall where nobody else seems to be eating and you give them a whirl. The food is good, but did the meat seem a little, pink? Then, boom, you're dead the next day from horrifying Mondo food poisoning. This never would have happened at a soulless fast food place. So while the botulism is breeding in our unfortunate Sagittarius, let's explore the dark fate of the Capricorn. The sign applies to anyone born between December 22nd and January 19th. The living symbol for the Capricorn is the goat, reliable and hard-headed. Their ruling planet is Saturn, known to be the planet of practicality and lessons to be learned. We honestly can't think of a better way to sum up your average Capricorn than that. If you are starting a company, a Capricorn is the ideal kind of person to have on the payroll. They are serious, dependable, and extremely hardworking. They're the kind of people who place a lot of their sense of self in seeing obligations through and getting the job done, even if they need to pull their third godforsaken all-nighter in a row to do it. And don't let yourself be fooled into thinking a Capricorn is just some worker drone either. They've got ambitions, and they feel that their grit and hard work is exactly what's going to help them get noticed and rise through the ranks in whatever industry they choose. And when you get to know them, you'll also realize that they've got a wicked sense of humor, despite the serious workaholic shell that they often hide it behind. However, we think that the Capricorn's obsession with hard work is exactly what's going to do them in when all is said and done. Japan even has a word for it, karoshi, death from overwork. There's an old expression, the body keeps score, and there is only so much constant stress that you can put it through before your body just gives out from underneath you. If you're a Capricorn watching this, consider this a wake-up call. Take it easy this weekend. Your body and soul will thank you for it. Which brings us to the penultimate zodiac sign, Aquarius. These are folks born between January 20th and February 18th. The symbol for Aquarius is a water bearer, a mythic figure holding an upturned jug, giving cool, clean hydration to whoever needs it. The ruling planet of Aquarius is Uranus. Haha, get all your immature laughs out now. Uranus is considered the planet of elimination. That's another one. Because if you are someone or something that is in an Aquarius's life, but not bringing joy, prepare to find yourself getting Marie Kondo'd. Your average Aquarius is friendly, independent, and selfless. They don't go all in for the rampant consumerism that plagues modern society. They get less attached to places, people, and things, and more to a sense of higher ideals. An Aquarius doesn't take injustice lying down. Like the classic water bearer, they want to make sure that everyone out there gets their fair share no matter the cost. To us, a true Aquarius seems to be like the kind of person who would be willing to drop everything to go do humanitarian work on the other side of the globe, with an organization like the Red Cross or Doctors Without Borders. And sadly, we think that is exactly how they would die, getting shot or blown up by some repressive government while trying to help out its most downtrodden people. It's a real bummer, but again, it's got to be said, still a much more honorable way to go than the Taurus who got crushed by that fridge. Staying with the theme of water, our remaining zodiac sign is Pisces. That's everyone born between February 19th and March 20th. The symbol of Pisces are the fish, specifically the love gods Venus and Cupid, who turned themselves into fish to escape the advances of the giant horny monster Typhon. Appropriately, the ruling planet for Pisces is Neptune, the Roman god of all the seas. And much like the roiling waves of the sea, a Pisces is never really calm and still. They care deeply and they feel intensely, changing those intense emotions on a dime whenever the feeling strikes. Pisces are incredibly kind and caring people, but that often leads to them taking on the stresses of the world. They'll always find something to worry, fret, or feel righteously angry over. We think the Pisces of the world should take up some meditation or maybe yoga, because if not, we think you're a shoo-in among the zodiac signs for a stress-induced heart attack. Sorry, we just calls them like we sees them. Think your zodiac destiny sounds wild? It's nothing compared to what happens when chaos meets humidity. Watch Dumbest Ways to Die Florida Edition to see what happens when common sense goes out the window. Or click on this video instead.